Yo, what's up everyone? Today I want to show you how we're able to scale to $100,000 a month through direct outreach strategies. Okay, so had a client, we were able to scale him past that through this method. All right, I'm going to teach you exactly what we did and try to give you as much value as I can through this video. Okay, so the first thing that we did was created a really good offer. Now, he already had a good offer, and so it's kind of easy to do. That's the main thing. I always teach this, so you have to have a unique offer, unique audience, unique channel. Now, you don't have to have all three, but having at least one of those makes your life a lot easier when you're trying to do outbound. So trying to reach out to people and try to get them on the phone with you. So he had a really unique offer. So the framework that we used for his unique offer was we help blank. So we help blank to blank without blank, right? And so that was the offer that we created. So a lot of times you see these markets that they get really tired of something, they get tired of hearing something, and they want to switch it up. And so if you just say, hey, we can help you do that without that, right? So one of my strategies right now is I help you get 40 points per month without setters, without paid ads, without a retainer, right? Which all the other agencies are offering that. And if I say, hey, we can do it without that stuff, then people are intrigued. Okay, so that was the framework that we used for the offer. It works really, really well. I've also used, I'm not going to say his offer because it was really good, but someone else I've tested this with and it works really well for him is, hey, I can help you reach 75% of your city without spending any money on ads. And that's through like an SEO offer, you know, something like that. So anyways, that's the offer, the most important part. And then the next thing is the strategy. So what are we going to do in order to get in front of these people? So I teach like 9 to 10 different ways of getting appointments, right? So it's like SMS, email, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google Calendar invites, iMessage, WhatsApp, Twitter, voicemail drops, right? 10 different ways that I use to get more appointments, but what's going to work best for these people? So what works best in terms of the strategy was SMS because it's really easy to get their phone numbers, this audience's phone numbers, and it's easy to find the data, and we can get a lot of data out of it, and there's plenty of them, right? There's so many people in this space, and so it's going to be really easy to push out a massive campaign all the time to these people. So that was the strategy, using SMS. And there's a lot of other strategies, like I have an inbound system strategy, like I have 20 calls this week just from inbound, so like me making these type of videos. I have a lot of calls from SMS, a lot of calls from Facebook, a lot of calls from LinkedIn, and so there's a lot of different strategies I teach, and you can watch all my other videos on how to do that. But that's a strategy that we chose in terms of this client. So then we had the system. So what is the system? How are we going to exactly step by step, what are we going to do in order to get this up and running? So like step one, how do we get the automation running? So everything I do is basically automated, so we don't have to worry about making sure that someone's there to manage it. Now obviously you kind of need to manage it, but it's for the most part automated. So how do we set up the automation? And then how do we manage conversations? How do we get it onto booked calls? And then also, how do we manage the follow-ups? So how do we get them nurtured to where when they get on the call with us, they actually want what we have to offer? So we have follow-ups, right? And he had an amazing follow-up system that was like, and so the first part is pretty easy to do. So set it up, managing, booking calls. I have that down pat. And his follow-up system was amazing to where you had, like texts going out to them every day before the call, emails going out to them like a couple times per hour, voicemails going to them saying, hey, I just want to make sure that you're ready for the call tomorrow, right? So all these things to make sure that they show up to the call. So amazing follow-ups, and that was a system. How do we get this systematized to where we know exactly what to do to get this end result? So we turn it into a machine, right? So I forget what it's called. Every system works like this, where we have input, and then we have a system, and I'm sure you see something like this from like Sam Evans or whatever, and then we have output, right? Right, so it goes in, and comes out something else, right? So it goes in something, it goes out the other thing. Let's say this is $1, it comes out $10. How do we create that system? And then it just feeds back. So we take that $10, put it in, turn it into $100, right? So if it's a 10x return, how do we keep doing it? And so we turn it into a system, right? What's the setup? What's the management? How do we book the calls? How do we follow up with them? How do we close the deals? And so we created a system for that. And then from there, so how it started off, this client, it was a very early client that I had. I was doing like $500 a month and then like $50 per appointment that we were setting. getting quite a few appointments every single day. And then basically I said, look, I'll give you the system. I'll help you implement it into your thing so you don't have to pay me directly and you can just kind of have the system yourself. And so we did that, and he was able to scale it to where now he does thousands and thousands. So in the beginning, we were doing like hundreds of texts, like maybe 100 to 150 texts per day, right? That's what we were doing. And then that was the system, and it was working really well. And so then he wanted to scale it up, and so now he's sending thousands upon thousands upon thousands of texts per day. And so now he's able to scale to 100,000 because we were able to scale. So you want to be able to create a system that can scale exponentially, like not exponentially, but linearly, right? So outbound sales is kind of always linear. It's not very exponential. Like organic content like this is kind of linear exponential. So if you push out more content, you know, in the beginning you might not get anything, and then you just kind of skyrocket. It's kind of like anytime you see someone's like net worth or like Warren Buffett's net worth, you'll see like this big whoop. I'll show you how that works. And I made videos about this before, like inbound versus outbound. And so with outbound, you can kind of scale like that, right, in a linear pattern, just kind of go up, by how much volume you're pushing, right? So if I'm only pushing 70 messages on Facebook, I can only get, you know, if I can optimize a little bit, I can get a better reply rate. Let's say we take the reply rate from 10% to 15%, that's cool, but I can still only send 70 messages. So how do I scale it effectively? Well, I create another account. I can send 70 messages from that account, and then we have this, right? So we bump from there to there. So now we have twice as many calls, because now we have 2 accounts, and then we do 3 accounts, and 4 accounts, and 5 accounts, 6 accounts. So it's not like exponential, but it is kind of like we can kind of bump. So when we're doing SMS, sending a couple hundred, and then we're like, okay, how do we just scale this to the moon, right? So we have the system that's getting us like a 10x return. He was getting like a more than a 14x return, right, from this. And when I gave it to him, he was getting an even better ROI from it because, you know, he wasn't having to pay me directly. And then so with that, now he can just scale it to whatever, and so he still gets the same ROI because we have the system in place. Now eventually it'll break, right, which is cool. That's just how everything goes. But you want to beat it until it breaks, right? So you want to beat the dead horse until it's unrecognizable, right? And I know it's a weird analogy, but we want to use this because we can only exploit it for so long, and that's what we want to do. We want to think about Amazon. It is a monopoly. Like it is very much a monopoly. They'll try to convince you that it's not a monopoly. I watched this. There was a lawsuit against like Amazon, Apple, and Google, and someone else. I forget. Facebook, I think. And so they had all these people, and they were all trying to convince Congress or whoever, I don't know how the court works, but all trying to convince them that we're not a monopoly. We're only, like Google's like, we're only like 20% of the overall search market. And like Amazon's like, we're only 5% of the overall e-commerce market. But that's what they try to make you believe, but they are monopolies. And that's the goal, is you want to become, like the real goal in business is become a monopoly. And the way to do that, by creating a system and then beating the crap out of it, right? Just exploiting it. So anyways, thanks so much for watching. That's how you scale to $100,000 a month through a system. Now, the main thing is we just have to create a machine, right? So once you get it to work, once you have an offer that works and a strategy that works, you just have to beat it up with a system, right? And so you just push out the system, keep going, and then it's super easy, right? Because then we just have to keep doing more and more and more. And then you have your system, right? And eventually it'll break, which is cool, because then we'll find another way to do it, right? So we'll do it through a different strategy. But anyways, that's how it works. Thanks so much for watching. I love you. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you in the next one.